how did you end up living with your sister? Tell me about that.
Well, I was staying in a group home for like a whole year, and then on May the 2nd, she actually got custody
Why
of
were you
me.
staying in a group home?
Well, me and my mom really wasn't getting along. Like, we're not really treated well, but...
She steals and she spoils.
Ma'am, I want to hear what she has to say, and then
Okay.
I'll give you the opportunity to respond, okay? So are you the youngest?
I have one sister under me.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 19 right now.
Okay, well, how old were you when you moved into the group home?
When I moved into the group home in 2012, I was 16. Then I turned 17 in there, and then I came out on May 2nd.
But why did you move into the group home? You were not getting along with your mother?
I wasn't getting along with my mom.
And why is that?
I'm not happy at home. I didn't want to be at home. I would
Okay.
always go somewhere. That's why I picked up a job. I started working. I was in school. From the time that I would be working until the time that I was in school, like I was gone the whole day. So she kind of felt like I was running the streets. Well, in actuality, I was, but at least I was doing the correct things.
And so at 17, though, you move out of the group home and she moves in with you?
She moved with me a day before she turned 17.
Okay. And what do you say the issues were?
The issue was, see, she's smart, but she's a manipulator. Angel was in the custody of the courts at 12. You know, she chose to take the wrong path, hang with the wrong people. At 14, when she hit 14, she ended back up in the Division of Youth Services.
Had you been arrested?
Yes.
Okay, what was that for?
Not staying with my mom, not being in her house, following her rules.
Angel was arrested for something else at the age of 12. She was arrested for a robbery.
Okay, if it's 12, what does it have to do with now?
At the age of 14, she was incorrigible. She didn't listen to my mom. She wouldn't listen to my dad. She wouldn't listen to anybody. So therefore, the courts had suggested that she went back to DYS. She stayed there until she was 16. A day before she turned 16 is when the courts released her to me. My mom didn't want her. My dad didn't want her. And forced her saying she's the outcast. No, she's the spoilest one of all. So she was released to me April the 1st, before she turned 17. So therefore, she was in my custody until 18. So I was responsible for her until she was 18. So when she turned 18, she could just go on about her business, do whatever she wanted to do.
And is that why you claimed her on your tax returns
She
that
was
year?
with me the whole year. Angel would come in when she wanted to. She would leave when she wanted to. They gave her a curfew, I think, and she wasn't doing anything. They were sending letters to my house. She wasn't responding to her service coordinator. So basically, it got to the point where Angel would do what she wanted to do.
Was she in school at that time?
She was in school, and she was working. Angel would talk to me any kind of way, come in my house trying to control my household, try to tell me how to raise my kids. Like, no, how can you tell me how to raise my kids and you're not even in your parents can't even raise you?
And what do you say? You say that you didn't live with her that entire year.
I stayed with Amanda for a month and a half. I didn't actually stay with her until October, the beginning week of October, until the middle of November.
Who did you stay with then?
I was staying with my boyfriend then.
How old is he?
He's 20.
No, he's older than me. He's 32. Angel been with him since she was 14.
If he's 30,
that's
and you see how
another
people
reason.
Is he 32 years
okay,
old?
if he's 30, no, he's not.
He's 30
If he's
years
30,
old.
why
He's
would you call
over
him
30.
your brother? What type of
Stand
sister
up.
would
You're
you
the-
be to
you're
make him?
Sister?
Yes.
Okay, who's her boyfriend? How old is he?
He's around 30-something years old. Angel was messing with him ever since she was around 14. He is
She's
an older
still
guy.
with him to this
yes.
day.
Step over.
Okay,
What do you want to say about this? And you are Alicia, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, Angel's basically standing up here lying.
I think the big problem here is nobody showed this young girl what consequences mean. And she's been taken care of for quite some time, even by the government, which I do think every child should be taken care of. But when you're just delinquent and you don't have any sort of consequences, this is what you run into. You run into something like this, where you're just doing bad stuff and kind of getting away with it, and you're getting involved with, grown men. It's a messy situation. I don't think there's anything wrong with, actually, in my opinion, for her even putting her on her, claiming her on her taxes. I don't think, because she is dependent on her older sister, and I think that that's totally fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think this young lady here is just running amok and, quite frankly, needs to be, put in a timeout. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that she should be able to claim her other taxes or not?
Everything Amanda is saying is true. Angel got out. She couldn't come home with my mother because my mom is tired of it. Angel is very disrespectful. She calls my mama every type of name that you could think of that's not appropriate for you to talk to your mom. My mom, she love her. She love all her girls, but she cannot deal with Angel. No one in the family can deal with Angel. Sure. Angel did get locked up when she was younger for stealing robbery in that beauty supply, I believe, yes.
Are you rude to and disrespectful to your mother? What's going on? Are you calling her names?
We never got along since I was young because at a young age, I see how she treat them is different
No,
from
at
how
a
she
young
treat
age,
and so does that
it's
cause
always
you?
been like
and
that.
so
It's never been different.
And so is that what leads you to go out and commit a robbery or theft?
No, because that's not what I was going out there doing. They try to paint me as I'm a horrible person when that's not the case. Yes,
How did you find out she claimed you as a dependent?
because she called me probably like around May, the year that she had filed me, and she was like, well, let me know if I can file you on your taxes and use your school credit, and I just give you $600. And I'm like, I kept pushing her off because I was gonna file my own taxes because as you can see, I got the IRS information, and even on those, it has the addresses of where I stayed at. None of them have her address at all.
And you think because you only lived with her a month and a half that she can't claim you? Who provided your support in 2013?
I provided my own support in 2013. I have plenty of jobs. I have 4 pages worth of different jobs where I was working throughout the whole year.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
Okay. By yourself. And so you're now living on your own.
Yes.
And where are you working?
Yes.
You're working now?
Yes.
And you're in school full time?
Yep. I'm going for business.
Did she come to you and have a conversation with you and say, hey, you filed me on your taxes, you weren't supposed to, I'd like for you to pay me $600 and we'll just call this a wash?
I talked to her service coordinator first, which
No.
the person that released her into my custody. And I asked her, was I able to file Angel on my taxes? She told me yes, because she was released to me April the 1st. Her birthday is April the 2nd. She turned 17. She was in my custody the whole year. When I tried to give her back to the state because she was being incorrigible, like I said, trying to run my household, tell me how to run my kids, and I'm trying to give her back to the state.
And so what happened with that?
They told me that they was trying to give me a neglect charge for her if I gave her back to this. I basically couldn't give her back, or they was gonna hit me with neglect. I have my own kids, and I work in the nursing field, so I'm not gonna take no neglect charge of nobody's child. Angel did not listen to me. She walk out my house when she want to. She come in when she want to. She go and please. So I got so fed up with it, and it was nothing that I can do, and the service coordinator can do. So I just let her do whatever she want to do. Another part of her stipulations was not to be with this man.
Was that a part of the stipulation?
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes.
That wasn't a part of the stipulation?
It was not.
You 14 years old and you messing with a man that's 28 to 30 years old. Like,
That was-
But at that point, when she was 17, was that a part of the stipulation?
No, she was 14 when she met him.
I understand, but at this point, she's
She was
living
17.
with
She
you.
was 17.
Was that a part
and
of the current
court-
stipulation?
The court still said that she was not supposed to deal with him. She's supposed to remain in my household. She's supposed to meet with her worker, get a job, and go to school. Angel wasn't even meeting with the worker. The worker was sending letters to my house. She was like,
And I assume you don't have any of that paperwork
No,
with you?
I didn't have the
course
letters
not.
that she sent, but I have the letters from when they released her into my custody.
Right, I understand that. You submitted that to the court.
Right, and like I said, she's a child. As long as she have electricity, hot water, gas, food, a roof over her head, I feel I don't owe her anything.
Well, guys, do we think that Judge Faith is going to believe it? I feel like I'm actually leaning on the side of the older sister here. I do think that this young lady here is working the system and she knows she can. And this is the tough part about these types of situations. She wanted to give her back to the state because she's like, I can't take care of her. I'm working a full-time job. I got my own kids, and she's not really respecting the stuff that I'm doing to take care of her. And this ungrateful young lady here is just totally potentially destroying her life. And the government is like, sorry, no. And we'll charge you with neglect if you take her back. Guys, that is tough, because it's not even her own kid, it's her sister, and she's doing something that she felt was the right thing to do. Now, we will see here, hopefully. I do think that Judge Faith is going to side with us, because I'm assuming everyone's on the same page here on this one, but we'll see what Judge Faith thinks. I do think that Judge Faith is about to rip her a new one, so let's keep watching.
So what was the
That's
issue?
the
What was the
issue.
issue when you stayed with your sister?
To be honestly, when
Were you coming in and out at all different times of day and night?
I barely wanted to be there because she had guys running in and out every time you turned around.
Just like she didn't want to be at her mother's house.
I'm being honest. Drug test right now.
You guys gotta
She
listen, all right?
would smoke in front of them, have guys running in and out. She would not clean.
So you're
I'm not
saying
no filthy person.
that is the reason why you wanted to
Do what you
leave,
wanna
and that's
do.
why you were going in and out of the house.
I told her, okay, me and him, I don't really want to stay with him. We're not really getting along right now. She was like, oh, well, you could come stay with me. You don't have to pay me any rent. You don't have to pay any bills.
So he's 20 years old. How long do you say you've been with him?
For like a year now,
What
but
does he
I've
do
known
for a
him
living?
longer than that.
What does he do for a living?
He works at Walmart.
All right, I think I've heard enough here.
One other thing to say about this whole case, I worked hard for everything, for these 4 pages, all these jobs that I had trying to learn how to maintain a job. I worked hard for that. Amanda didn't take care of me. Amanda didn't buy me nothing. It was times where I was at her house starving. It was times where I didn't even know. I didn't find out till next year. The next year after, when I applied for food stamps, she was getting government assistance for you. She was getting this. I called my mom to find this out. Oh yeah. Well, why is Angel going without clothes? Why is Angel staying at your house and you don't have no
But
food
you
in the
call your
refrigerator?
mom the mom that you curse out every
Stop
day.
it.
$700 worth of food stamps, but I'm straight going hungry and I'm staying with you. And I just felt betrayed. That's the only reason why I'm here, because it hurt me.
Now you
And I
calling
straight
this
felt
fake crap?
betrayed by her because I stayed with her. She could have told me, oh, I'm getting this for you. I'm getting these type of benefits for you. She was even trying to get child support from my mom and dad so it can go to her. That's not right, and that's why I'm hurt.
I told the courts I did not want child support.
But we're
my
getting
mom could let you.
assistance.
My mom would tell you we didn't want
all right,
child
stop.
support.
Stop. Everybody stop. I've heard enough. Before I rule on this case and the legal issues, let me just start with this. I know you mentioned in your papers that you guys are from the Ferguson area, and everything that's been going on in that community, you don't want to see your sister go down that road and get in trouble and ruin her life with some of the choices that she's making. And I really do believe that you care about her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the fact that she graduated a year early. She makes straight A's. Smart as ever in school. Smart when it comes to the books and everything, but it's just sometimes she make the wrong decisions.
And that's why I'm going to turn to you right now and tell you everything that they're saying today, they're not making everything up.
But they are.
Don't.
No.
Stop. There's a reason why you were in this facility. There's a reason why you had to spend time there. Obviously, you haven't had the easiest childhood, and some of that is because of some of the choices that you made. You have to own up to that too. But listen, I commend you at 19 years old for working hard. I commend you for having your own place, for graduating school early, doing all of those other things. I really do. But I still think you can do better.
What do you mean by do better?
I think you can take better ownership and responsibility for your relationships with your sisters and with your family and your part in this conflict.
Judge, I feel she should just be accountable for her own actions.
I understand what you're saying.
I feel like we
but
shouldn't just try to sit here and play the victim role and make it seem
Like
like
you doing
Angel.
now.
neither one of you,
That's
neither
what I feel
one
like.
of you
My mom has
are
5
perfect.
girls.
Because we
Now,
gonna
your
have
mom
two
has
that's gonna
5
jump
girls.
on me
And she
and make
the
it
only
seem,
one
oh,
feel
but
outcast.
we gonna make sure my character looks bad. We gonna make sure Angel
Stop talking. Both of you stop talking.
Try to say she bring different guys
Because
in. What
let's
did
be
you do
honest,
when
because
you
y'all
was
have not
younger?
been honest
Don't
since
do
we
that.
stepped in this
Don't
courtroom.
listen.
Let's be honest.
Now you're showing what you're really like.
Okay,
Because
that's
I've
fine.
told you 5 times to stop talking, and you won't stop talking. So you're
told
not
me to stop
respecting the court. You're not respecting me right now. You're not respecting me. And I know if you're acting like this in court, I can only imagine what you're acting like at home.
Okay, because you don't understand.
I-
You can sit here
listen,
and try
I've
to act
heard
like
you,
you understand
and
my
I'm
life because
listening
you
to
heard
you.
a piece of it,
But
you don't.
I understand you, but I can't let you just talk for 20 minutes, and I've asked you to stop, and you're not doing it. I've heard everything that both of you have had to say today, and some things I'm taking into consideration, and some things I'm not. In this case, the two of you may or may not have come up with this agreement that you would reimburse her for some of the money you got back. But see, I don't even have to make that decision, because if you think someone wrongfully claims you as a dependent on their tax return, your remedy is not to come and bring them to court. Your first remedy is to go to the IRS. If she's already filed and claimed you, what you have to do, you can't electronically file because you'll be rejected. You have to paper file. Then the IRS gets your return, and then they see, oh, you're claiming yourself, your sister is claiming you, we need to sort this out. And they have to contact her. They have to contact you, and then they sort that out. You can't just come up with this agreement where you got a refund on my behalf, so I want you to pay me $600.
That was her agreement.
Both of you, even if you
What you
came up with
mean?
that, if you came up with that agreement, you can't bring it into court and I enforce it. I can't enforce that agreement because it's not the right agreement. Your remedy is to go to the IRS.
Thank
And I know you probably don't know this because you're 19.
You see how she walks off? Like, this is what we go through. This is what we go through.
Listen, this is the law. I'm not making this up.
Right.
I'm not trying to come up with something to try to cheat her out of money. If she's owed the money, she would get the money. But this is the law. My hands are tied here. I commend you for trying to help your sister. And I commend her for the things that she's done. You talked about her making straight A's, and she talked about working right now and being in school. One thing that she obviously needs to work on is her attitude and how she responds to adversity, or how she responds to someone who's telling her something that she doesn't want to hear. It's unfortunate that she walked out of court today, but I think that's a reflection of something she needs to work on, which is her attitude. And the other thing I want to say, at some point in your life, you have to make a choice with what happens, because she didn't have an easy childhood. right? At 12 years old, very young age, she's not at home, she's in a group home, she's in a juvenile facility, as you described it. That's not easy for a young person to live their teenage years like that. You know, many of us, as we rise in the ranks in our professional lives, we've had challenges and obstacles that we've had to overcome. I'm certainly not here because I had it easy or because I didn't face adversity. I mean, I look at people like Oprah and Tyler Perry, who had childhoods, they were sexually and physically abused, but they completely turned their lives around and are doing amazing things. And I think that that boils down to people who choose what to do with the obstacles they have faced. They can let those obstacles hinder them for the rest of their lives. They can allow them to teach them lessons and be stepping stones in their lives. And I hope that Angel is somehow able to go forward and use these things as a stepping stone. And I hope that if she does that and she changes her attitude and she does get better, that all of you can repair your relationship. And good luck to your family.
I think Judge Faith is correct on this. I 100% agree with everything she said. I don't think that this young lady should be owed any sort of money. I mean, she had made the decisions she's had. Obviously, it's a rough upbringing, so I definitely feel for her in that situation. But at the end of the day, she's correct. We all are dealt a hand, and it's based on the decisions that we make on how we can push ourselves forward in the end. And her choice was to not really be, the best at first. And it put her in a situation where she was being put into group homes and she was a ward of the state, and it caught her up into some really, shady stuff. At the end of the day, I do agree that she doesn't owe her little sister any money. She was the one that went out of her way to take care of her. Otherwise, she would have been in a way worse situation. I think that young people don't realize that when you become a ward of the state and you're in group homes, it can be not so great. And it can be a really, terrible situation for a lot of people, and they can get into even worse situations. And I think being with your family and your sister and someone who you trust and someone who loves you and someone who's going to be there for you even no matter what is just, you're playing with fire if you're not willing to take that opportunity to get yourself back on your feet. And I don't think she did the right thing in that case. So I agree with Judge Faith in this one. I 100% think it was a very good judgment, and I think Judge Faith allowed this young lady to share her piece and show her true colors, which a lot of judges don't do. Someone like Judge Judy, she tends to kind of steamroll over people, and they don't even get a chance to even show what their argument is or even show their true colors if they're lying or something. And so sometimes she can give perhaps a more emotional judgment, where I think that Judge Faith really allowed this one to play through, which I think is the right way to do it. So I want to know what you guys think about this, guys. Please let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. What do you think is going on here? Who do you think is correct? Whose side are you on? Do you think that this sister should be able to claim her on the taxes? And do you think this young lady is a brat? Let me know.